on the news that they arrested a guy for the Tupac murder, but I'm a little unclear as to what's going on because this is a guy who's been on the radar for quite some time. The guy wrote a book. They had a documentary a few years ago about the Tupac murder.
This is how it happened?
Yeah, If I Did It is the name of his book. No, a guy who was a former Crip chief or something, a guy named Keith D. He's a 60-year-old man by now. And LAPD have scooped him up. I always kind of took them half at their word when they said that the Tupac murder investigation was still very much an open case. I mean, Tupac got killed almost 30 years ago.
They weren't looking for him.
Well, when they talked to the guys who were on that case, I mean, I don't think that they're knocking on doors actively every single day, but they've made it pretty clear that it was not they don't consider it a cold case. Dwayne Keith D. Davis has been arrested in connection with the murder of Tupac Shakur. They raided his wife's home. That's not a good sign, I guess, if your wife has a separate home, looking for evidence that they were following. But he admitted being in the car that shot at, it was Tupac and Biggie in the other car, right? I know Puffy's always tried to insert himself into that situation. I don't know if he was in the car.
He was in a separate car.
Separate car. There you go.
I think they were at a traffic light. This is what I remember from the movie. They were at a traffic light, and then Puff went to go, he was in the other SUV, and his SUV was moving forward. And then right as the other SUV that Puff or that Big was in, another car pulled up and shot him.
There you go. Puffy loves telling the Tupac story, boy. He loves. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Taken into custody by Las Vegas detectives. And this guy has, he hasn't been silent about it. He's talked about it a lot. So I don't know what new information they have that would have gotten them to go scoop him up. But he's a guy, for people that remains
subscribed and shared their way to a conviction.
They what?
Subscribed and shared because he's talking about it on podcasts all the time and stuff. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, who knows? But they scooped this guy up, and he said that he told authorities about his involvement during a meeting at the time or some years ago. His tell-all memoir is called Compton Street Legend. And let's be frank, the only reason a guy like this would write a book and expect that people would buy it is because of the Tupac connection. Who the hell knows who Keith D is? I mean, outside of L.A., Crips, that's barely a thing anymore, I don't think. These guys have all aged out, replaced by other more violent gangs. But he talked to the cops about 15 years ago because they were going to send him to prison on drug charges. And so they probably poked him a little bit and asked him some questions and told him what do you want to tell him. But anyway, they've scooped him up and said that this is the guy we're looking at. They like him for the murder of Tupac Shakur. So that would, if in fact that were the case, that would close the book on this whole thing.
Joe Biden's going to take credit for this one. I told all my blacks, I told you I'd deliver.
Uh-huh.
And now we got one half of the greatest murder, the biggest murder of all time.
That's a great Joe Biden.
LLJ Cool J.
LLJ Cool J was part of the whole thing. People underestimate how great Poundcake's Joe Biden is.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Don't they?
I mean, this is the first time I've heard it.
Oh, he does it all the time. I'll call him late at night and go, "Do Joe," and he always accommodates. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate that, Alan. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Have you ever heard Joe Biden speak before? Sounds like you're doing Obama.
You're making him sound too lively, for one thing.
LLJ Cool J.
Yeah.
There's a funny comedian in town, Noah Ryan, and he's a great impressionist, and he does a very good Joe Biden. Not as good as Cody's,
Is it
obviously.
impressionist or impersonator?
Impressionist.
What's the difference?
I don't know. He does voices.
Impersonator dresses like them, and an impressionist sounds like them? Is that the distinction?
But he does a lot of Joe Biden.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Cody, what's the distinction there?
I think impersonator would probably be you look and sound like them.
I see.
Impressionist, I think, is just maybe voices like what who's the guy we had in here from SNL? They used to do it.
Jay Farrow.
Jay Farrow.
Jay
Yeah.
Farrow. Alan, you're screwing it all up. Suge was with Tupac. Puff was with Biggie. Okay. Suge Knight was in the car with Tupac.
Correct.
Well, there you go. Thank you for the people. Devotion accuracy. Again, it was a long time ago.
But I thought Tupac, again, got shot in Las Vegas, didn't he? Outside, like inside one of the big casinos there. Because there was like video footage of it.
Yeah. But they had like multiple jurisdictions on this too, because there were some of the people that were following people in LA, they were following people in Vegas. It was a whole thing.
Just like
I mean, Mary went to Vegas for the first time, and then they cracked this case the first day she's there. So, like, connection, absolutely.
I mean, she should definitely go to the Mob Museum if she's into that stuff. She's right there.
To the what?
The Mob Museum.
Mob Museum.
Because it's right there on Fremont Street. Like, I stayed, we were at the Four Queens, which is right next to the Golden.
Yeah, you were. Oh.
Yeah, so, and then the Mob Museum was just a little walk down the road. And that was interesting. And it's funny how we got, like, Cleveland was in the museum there. It showed a lot of history on, like, that backstory of Little Italy and stuff.
Yeah, Mob was here, too, for a while. So what am I missing with this Roman Empire meme?
I don't know. It just popped up last week, and it was girls asking their boyfriends how often they think about the Roman Empire, and guys.
So somebody just started that, and it took off from there?
And,
the algorithm did its work? And
I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's not anything I ever think about. But then I saw another thing that people were trying to tie it to alt-right dudes, and like they're obsessed with the Roman Empire, and I'm like, I don't know about all this.
Okay.
But it seemed like it went away just as fast as it flared up.
Yeah, it just is getting a lot of references and people memeing about it. And I'm like, you know me, I don't like to be left out of anything. And so, but I was curious. I do like to know where people are coming from.
I want to know why the Kevin James memes started showing up all of a sudden.
Well, yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
I think they're very funny, but I just like why all of a sudden?
I think because it was the anniversary of King of Queens premiering.
Oh, okay.
And so it was like not 30 years ago.
Like 25
years ago.
Okay.
Last week, I think the King of Queens premiered. And so there was a picture of Leah Remini and Kevin James and Jerry Stiller, who had just come off of Seinfeld.
But then there's that promotional one where he's got his hands in the pocket shrugging, and that one took off.
Like in the Who Me kind of, that classic sitcom-y comedian thing. And then Kevin James
even leaned into it.
And he's like, hey, I'm going out on the road again. I'm so happy I found this old headshot. And it's him in the kitchen for King of Queens. But it's, again, that has run its course too. But people they like to get blood from a stone, boy. They will hang on to something until the next thing comes along, and then it's all over. I mean, I've spent the entire morning memeing Dianne Feinstein pictures. And I don't mind telling you, to little or no effect. The algo is just not scooping it up, no matter how many mustaches and sailor hats I put on her. What do I have to do? So that Tupac thing is still continuing. I heard from one of our Florida bureau chiefs, they sent me the story about a guy who has been bitten by a rabid otter 41 times. You know, otters can be so cute. We all see photos of them lying on their backs in the water, holding hands. And I don't know anything about otters. I know they're carnivorous. I know they're mammals. That is all I know about otters. I didn't realize they were fast. I didn't realize that they could run up on you if you weren't paying attention. This guy saw them coming. There's a guy in Florida who's feeding ducks. When you hear this guy talk, he doesn't sound like a native. He sounds like a guy who might be in the witness relocation program. And this is not a great way to have his face plastered everywhere. Joseph Scaglione was out there feeding the ducks.
What a great name.
I know. Hey, I'm Joe Scaglione.
I'm Scaglione.
Hey, yo! He saw, so all the birds fly away, and he's like, the hell's going on? He didn't see a hawk. And so he goes to close his gate, and an otter comes at him. And he said that the mauling lasted several minutes. They had to yell for neighbors to come and help. He's a 74-year-old man, and he got 41 bites on his legs and his arms and his hands. Ooh. They got him to the hospital. They euthanized. See, here's the thing with rabies is like one of the only diseases with pretty much a 100% fatality rate. You know, a lot of people died from COVID, and yes, but the fatality rate of COVID was still single digits. Rabies, if you don't get it taken care of toot sweet, you're dead.
Yeah, what do you have, like 72 hours?
You got something like that, yes. It's a very short period of time if you don't have rabies taken care of. Because once the symptoms start, you're out of luck. It's fatal. No way around it. So it's easily like top 3 world's most deadly diseases. So this guy gets bitten a whole bunch of times. Fingers, legs, whatever else. And here's Joe Scaglione.
I normally go out and feed ducks in the back. Ducks, geese, ibis. Looked up, no hawk. Looked back down, and there was a...
What do you say? Ibis? What? Ducks, geese, ibis? Or what do you say?
I don't know. It's
geese, ibis. Looked up, no hawk. Looked back down, and there was a brown head sticking up over the bank of the pond. At first, I didn't know
Tony,
it
there was a
an
brown
otter,
head sticking up over the...
This guy is not
There's a hawk, Tony.
This guy's not a native Floridian.
and I realized that's an otter. My pinky is the worst. 2 puncture wounds. I'm not sure if it goes right through or whatever. One is on the corner of where the cuticle was.
Hey, this thing, let's just say it was not doing what it oughta. All
Get
right.
out of here.
Get out of here. I told him. He said, hey, you F with Joe Scaglione. You're effing with the best. So, Joey Skaggs.
Just trying to get my little taste, and then all of a sudden there's an otter.
Yo, I can't even make a pair of gloves out of you. By the way, happy 66th birthday today to one Andrew Clay Silverstein. Still to this day, one of our very favorites, Andrew Dice Clay, 66. It's depressing. I'll tell you what's depressing. Did you watch The Golden Bachelor?
No.
I thought I was really going to enjoy this show.
Was it lame?
Not lame. It's depressing. I'm just sitting there.
Okay, that's what I was kind of leaning to, because everyone's got a dead significant other.
Well, not that. It's just, listen, I'm 52 years old, right? Mm-hmm. My wife's 10 years younger than me. I'm watching, I go, okay, this guy's a good-looking dude. The Bachelor, he's 71. The women are age appropriate. The youngest one is 60. And they're rolling him out, and we're kind of, going, oh, well, that's potentially a crazy one right there. And they're fine, but at the end of the first episode where they do a montage of everything that's going to come in the season, so they do little clips of the individual dates, and they're in a hot air balloon, and there's a lot of making out. And even a couple of the women in the premiere who wanted to get FaceTime with the guy. A lot of things remain the same, whether these girls are 60 or 20. There's always a couple who break away from the pack to get some FaceTime with the guy. They don't want to be left behind. They want to get that first impression rose. Mm-hmm. They want to get a rose at the end of the thing, so they break from the pack, and the other women are left behind going, well, she's saucy, you know? These girls are nicer. They're not as petty or cutting as the younger women. Now, that may change as the season goes on. But, yes, it's a lot of people with dead husbands. A lot of people have been married a bunch of times. Gwen looks at me and goes, everyone's crying at the prospect of someone loving them again. And this one woman who goes and she's making out with the guy, and I'm like, maybe I'm more shallow than I thought. I go, I don't think I can handle an entire season of watching septuagenarians make out. I don't think I can do it. The one woman's crying after she kisses him. She goes, today's my 70th birthday. This is the greatest prize I could ever get. Gwen looks at me and goes, I just took my mom for her 70th to Grandpa's Cheese Barn.
That's a good. That's a good 70th too.
Yeah, I'm just like, could you imagine either of our mothers on this show? And listen,
I can imagine your mom on that show.
Shut up, Bill. God bless all these women. You know, I just don't know if I'm down for a whole season of, you know, and again, it's shallow. I get it. I haven't watched, in my defense, I don't normally watch the regular Bachelor. I haven't watched The Bachelor in a long time.
Yeah, you give it a shot. If it's not for you, who cares?
I mean, we'll watch it. I know.
Crappy reality show.
Yeah.
So, Alan, if somebody is on a Golden Bachelor and somebody get into a fight and get knocked out, will somebody be yelling, help, they falling and they can't get up? Hate the show. Bye.
Right. See, yeah, I got it. No, I don't know. We watched, and everybody's very nice. You know, there is a lot of cosmetic surgery on the show. A couple of women who stood out. It's a diverse crowd. The guy, you know, but again, the montage giving you a taste of what's to come in the season. The guy's crying. He rips his microphone off and walks off camera at some point. I'm done. I can't handle this. You know, the backstory on this guy is he marries his high school sweetheart. They're married for 43 years. He retires. They buy the lake house they always wanted. 2 weeks later, she feels kind of sick. She goes to the hospital, and in a week, that's what I said. I look at Gwen. I go, can you imagine if they find out he killed her?
Wait, like, okay, they buy a lake house. He's not able to afford the payments. Then his wife gets sick. Insurance pays out. Everything's fine. I'm on to you, Bachelor.
So he takes her to the hospital. A week after they move into the house, she has some bacterial infection that shuts all of her organs down, and she never leaves the hospital. So the guy...
He knew that lake house was on a lake that had bad water in it. She probably went swimming in there and got that's why we don't go swimming in lakes.
And it's probably a real deep lake, too. Yeah. But... I go, why doesn't he just sell the house? And Gwen's like, that's what you took from that? I go, yeah, because they didn't, like, raise their children there. Because he was like, no, this house was her dream, and now I'm in it, and I look out at the lake, and she's not here. I'm like, sell the house. You bought it when you retired. You barely lived in it. Anyway.
I don't know if I can handle... I love my mom, and I want her to be happy, but I don't want to see her on reality TV getting jiggy with some dude.
Like, she get paid. You don't have to watch. Like she'll still get paid.
Like if she goes to like the honeymoon suite or whatever. I don't know if they have like a nightcap suite. I don't know if I can handle that.
Well, that's what I was saying. Ugh. I was like, you know, when the youngins go to the honeymoon suite, you know, it's not like they have a pinhole camera in the paintings or anything, but you hear, sometimes you'll see closed captioning of them whispering behind the door. I don't know that there's I still think that this is playing to...
They're not making macaroni back there.
The macaroni in a pot. I think that they're playing to the demographic, that age group, and also playing to the rest of us in our morbid curiosity. But, yeah, I don't know. I'll watch the first few because the guy is very personable and the ladies seem nice. But... I mean, I don't know. I just, old people making out. There's something about it. And it bums me out because I'm like, that's my future. I mean, you know, so I'm just lying.
Yeah, but you're not doing it on TV.
I know.
Like, making out on TV is making out on TV is already uncomfortable. Like, I think I'd rather watch old people have sex than make out.
It's a lot of crepey lips and a lot of like, it's a lot of, again, and you can't blame them. Like, it's a lot of nervousness and it's, you know, and these women are all like, you know, we're here to show that when you hit a certain age, it doesn't mean you're dead. They're all in great shape. I mean, obviously they're not going to get, you know, middle America old people. They're going to get people who look like they came, you know, there's like a girl that used to be a cheerleader for the Chicago Bears, and there's a woman who owns a salon, and there's a lady who...
I used to cheer on Gail Sayers.
Ah, boy. Yeah. So I guess we'll stay with it for a little bit.
I remember Brian Piccolo before he got cancer. He was a great player.
I remember when Gail Sayers took me to his hometown of Wakarusa, Indiana, and he told me a story about a cow named Contented Linda Grace. Have you ever heard the story? Let me tell you. So a long time ago, that's how The Bachelor ends up being 3 hours long. She tells the contented Linda Gray story. And the circle remains unbroken. I got to take a break. If you want to send a text, 35192, AlanCoxShow.com.